Hey everyone, welcome back to Those Fake Nerds. I'm your host, Brian, and I want to talk a little bit about Battlefield 6. So, last weekend, at the time of recording, whenever you listen to this, it might be a few weeks in the future or, well past when the beta for Battlefield 6 came out, but I very much enjoyed my time playing Battlefield 6 over the weekend, and I'm not alone there. Many people joined it and saw what a good time a game like Battlefield that is true to itself and its roots can possibly be. I made a video on the Wicked Good Everything channel, which is more, this is just firing up my mic and kind of stream of consciousness talking into it about stuff, but in that, more researched, heavily scripted, where I kind of talked about in one video how Call of Duty was losing its identity by trying to chase Fortnite and trying to chase, the battle pass hype, making all the money off of skins and including characters like Beavis and Butthead, like the characters from American Dad, and really just making it feel weird, not like Call of Duty, where Battlefield has shown that they are kind of doing the opposite, right? They're really embracing what makes Battlefield Battlefield, at least in my summation, at least as someone who, I've played since Battlefield 2, going over my friend's house and playing on his computer and being like a little bit overwhelmed by the scope of that and being one of the first online games I ever really played. But, playing Battlefield 6, it reminded me of those days a little bit. Playing Battlefield, was it 3 on the Xbox 360 back in the day, Bad Company, all of that. And I think that because Battlefield has made this conscious choice to stay true to itself, stay true to its roots, as it were, I think they're going to see a lot of success. And I know that after the beta, they came out with an announcement on Twitter and they were like, hey, we're changing how movement works. And I know people got quite upset about that. I'm not an expert enough on the game to say whether or not that's like a good thing or a bad thing. I very much doubt how I play these kind of shooters at 32 years old. I'm going to notice too much of the nerf in terms of movement, as most of the time my boots are firmly on the ground if I'm not jumping out of a building as it collapses around me. But yeah, people were mad about that. And then there was also a lot of controversy surrounding people potentially cheating. I know they banned 300,000 people. There were other people on Twitter who were posting clips and people were dissecting these clips and saying oh, these people are cheating, or the bigger thing about it being that that type of play style isn't really what Battlefield encourages or about, and the community had a backlash to it. And then it kind of has the community of normal people who play video games versus the community of streamers and content creators who just want to hit clips and get those big plays, and how they're kind of at odds with one another. And I think if you are a passionate Battlefield player, there's plenty of room with Battlefield 6 to make content. But if you're the type of player who is a content creator first and foremost, and they're really only interested in Battlefield because that's the hot ticket these days, and what most people are searching for when they're looking for some highlights online, and you just want to use it as a vehicle to promote your own brand, I think that will perhaps not work out. I don't think that this is the game for that. And I think it creates this weird conversation where the most outspoken, or I guess the most heard people in the video game community are these streamers and content creators, and they're the ones who are very quick to be yeah, this is going to fail. We need a battle royale mode. We need ranked mode, all of that. Whereas I do think that the base and like the core fan base of Battlefield is not necessarily as interested in those things as the content creators who are more like coming into it to, grow their own brands, and they'll play for a month and then, Call of Duty will come out, or however long Call of Duty comes out afterwards. I think like a month after Battlefield 6 comes out, and they'll play Call of Duty, they'll play Warzone. But I think if you're somebody looking for a Battlefield experience from the beta, at least, Battlefield 6 seems like that exact game that you are looking for, that you will have a lot of fun with, and that I think will be successful for a while. The one thing that gives me pause, not from like a streamer point of view, is the report that EA wants to turn Battlefield into a yearly franchise, have multiple studios working on Battlefield games at once. Perhaps that could work if the Battlefields feel substantially different from one another. I'm thinking of last generation, Hardline, versus, Battlefield 4. Had a lot of the same elements, destruction, all that, but were a very different game. I enjoyed Hardline, but I don't think many people played Hardline to where, like, I don't really see people talk about it at all these days. So we'll see what happens there. But for now, I was happy with the Battlefield 6 beta. How did you feel about it? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.